All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at something kind of different,
Okay.
but also really, really cool, I think. And
All right.
it's diplomacy,
Mm.
but not diplomacy as we know it.
Oh,
Diplomacy with a little something extra.
I like where this is going.
Augmented reality and diplomacy.
Oh, wow.
We found this awesome podcast, actually, that
Okay.
it's called AR and Diplomacy, Future Negotiations. And it's by this political scientist who's also like a huge UX enthusiast. So
Interesting combo.
yeah, really interesting perspective.
Yeah.
And I think you're really going to like this one. So, I mean, just picture this, right?
Okay.
You got these diplomats. They're wearing AR glasses.
Uh-huh.
And as they're negotiating like these super important global treaties,
Right.
they can see all this real-time data and maps,
Hmm.
historical precedents, all layered right over the real world.
Wow.
So like straight out of a sci-fi movie.
It really is. And the thing is, it's not just some futuristic fantasy anymore.
Oh, yeah.
There are actual pilot programs happening right now
No.
using AR in real-world diplomatic settings.
That's incredible. I mean, how does it even work?
Well, basically, AR overlays digital info onto the real world, right?
Right.
So, let's say you're a diplomat at the UN, you're looking at a treaty. With your AR glasses,
Yeah.
you could instantly see which clauses are likely to cause problems,
Oh, wow.
or pull up relevant precedents from past negotiations.
It's like Google Maps, but for international relations.
Exactly. You're navigating this complex political landscape.
That's wild. So you could basically walk into a room and
Yeah.
immediately know who to trust and who to watch out for.
In a way, yeah. The podcast mentions this UN pilot program from 2022,
Okay.
where they used AR to project environmental data during climate talks. Like, imagine seeing the impact of your decisions right there in the room.
Wow, that's powerful stuff.
Yeah, so AR has this huge potential to make diplomacy way more transparent
Yeah,
and effective. It's like giving these negotiators X-ray vision.
I love it. Okay, so this all sounds amazing, but there had to be some downsides, right?
Of course, no technology is perfect. One major challenge is accessibility.
Right, because not every country can afford these fancy AR glasses.
Exactly. AR gear is expensive.
Yeah.
So if only wealthy nations have access to it, it could create a digital divide.
Oh, I see. So instead of bringing countries together, it could actually make inequality worse.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could exclude smaller nations from crucial conversations.
That's a good point. But couldn't virtual summits help with that? Like, think about it. You wouldn't need to fly everyone around the world.
That's true.
You could save a ton of money on travel and security.
You're right, virtual summits are a huge opportunity. They could definitely make diplomacy more inclusive.
And they could even allow citizens to attend virtually, right?
Absolutely, could increase transparency and public engagement.
Okay, so there's that. But what about security?
Ah, yes, that's another big one.
What if someone hacks into a diplomat's AR glasses?
Right, it's a serious concern.
All that sensitive information could be compromised.
Exactly. That's why UX design is so crucial here.
Okay, how so?
We need AR systems that are secure, intuitive, and user-friendly. We're talking robust privacy filters, intuitive controls, and a minimalistic approach to data display.
So basically, don't overwhelm people with information.
Exactly. The technology should enhance human interaction, not hinder it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
The podcast actually mentioned a G20 summit in 2023.
Oh, yeah.
Where they tried using AR, but the interface was so clunky and confusing
Right.
that it just ended up frustrating the diplomats.
Yeah, sometimes too much tech can be a bad thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here? What does the future hold for AR and diplomacy?
Well, the podcast is pretty optimistic.
Oh.
They envision a world where virtual summits are the norm, where diplomats from even the smallest nations can participate in global talks without needing to travel.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah.
It would definitely level the playing field.
Right, and imagine the possibilities for training young diplomats.
Yeah.
They could practice complex negotiations in a safe virtual environment.
It's like a flight simulator, but for diplomacy.
Exactly. And the podcast even predicts that AR could be standard practice at the UN by 2030.
Wow, 2030. That's like right around the corner.
It is ambitious, but change can happen fast,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to technology. Look at the business world.
Okay.
They're already using AR in negotiations.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. What happens in business often spills over into politics.
Exactly. Microsoft, for instance, is investing heavily in AR for business negotiations.
Interesting. So if AR does become the norm in diplomacy, what kind of UX design do we need?
Well, we're talking about AR glasses with voice commands,
Okay.
touch-free gestures,
Oh.
real-time translation built right in.
It's like having a universal translator right there on your face.
Pretty much. The tech needs to be intuitive so anyone can use it, regardless of their tech skills. And of course, security has to be top-notch.
That's a lot to consider. It's amazing to think about, though. Diplomats seamlessly blending tech and human interaction on the global stage.
It's a powerful vision.
It all comes back to good UX design, though, right?
Absolutely.
If we can get the technology right, make it truly invisible and integrate it into human interaction, the possibilities for diplomacy are endless.
I completely agree.
Well, there you have it, folks. That's our deep dive into AR and diplomacy. We've covered the potential, the challenges, and the incredibly exciting future it might hold. But here's one last question for you to ponder. Could AR actually help bridge cultural divides in international relations? If we can experience the world even virtually through someone else's eyes, could it lead to greater empathy and understanding? It's something to think about as this technology continues to evolve. Until next time, happy diving.